Good morning, everybody. Please bear with my voice. I've got a terrible cold and I've just worked a night shift, so I am feeling a little bit run down at the moment. I have just received this at the front door and I don't even remember ordering this. I didn't, when I saw the Trevor White Roses packaging, I was like, what on earth was that? Because I'd ordered the Evelyn's, which came a while ago, but this has come separately, and I vaguely remember ordering it now that I've seen it, but I wasn't expecting it. I'd actually ordered a second Nahema from Pococks Roses, so now I'm going to have three Nahemas, so I might still have time to cancel one of them, but yeah. Anyway, so this this is a nice surprise. This is how it has arrived. So packaged in this plastic bag, and then inside here, it's also wrapped in some wet newspaper to keep the roots wet. So that's good. I'm just inspecting for gall again, obviously, because we've had a lot of these deliveries arriving with gall at the moment. In fairness, they are trees and not these, and in fairness, not from Trevor White Roses. I've never received any issues from Trevor White Roses. Oh my god, there's two in there. I've ordered two Nahemas. I've got 4 Nahemas on the way. How do I not remember doing that? Jesus Christ. So these are both Nahema. From Trevor White Roses. But I ordered 2 Nahemas from Pococks Roses. Right, I need to go and have a look at the packaging in a second, because I am very confused. It's not the same company, is it? Right, I'm just going to cut this off. So maybe this is the order that I made for 2 Nahemas from Pococks Roses, but it's definitely, I'm sure it says Trevor White Roses on the bag. So I'm going mental. So they're quite thin canes, but I don't know what Nahema's habit is actually like. So that could be normal for that. I think that's fine. I just saw that little bump. I think that's a bit of root that's been cut off. I think that's fine. So, because of all the issues that we've been having with these, I did a little bit of research, and there is a rosarian from the United States, and he has said that if roses come and they have been in contact with rose gall but don't have it, you can disinfect them just kind of as a surface disinfectant with this. So this is fire blight spray, and on here it says to mix 1 tablespoon with 2.5 gallons, but I remember the professor giving the talk said for crown gall that would be 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to mix 2 tablespoons of this with 2.5 gallons of water, whatever that is, in here, so I'm going to use that as a dip just to make sure there's nothing on the surface. I can't see anything, but I'm just taking extra precautions now. What's that? That's mud, so that can come off. But just comparatively, I'll just show you the Nahema that I received from 2 in Centrum Lottom. Can you see how spiky this is? This is Nahema that I've received today, which is supposed to be almost thornless, which would make me believe that this definitely is Nahema, because this is almost thornless. And this, I have absolutely no idea. I raised that with 2 in Centrum Lottom. I emailed them and I said I was under the impression that Nahema is supposed to be thornless and this is quite angry looking. And they said that they had raised it with the supplier as well. So if they've raised it with their supplier and they hadn't heard back from their supplier yet, I'm not really sure why they were sending these out as Nahema if they haven't solved the issue yet, if even they didn't believe it was Nahema. So yeah, the whole experience with 2 in Centrum Lottom has just been a negative one. I definitely won't be purchasing from them again, unfortunately. And I hate to say that about a company online, but you have to be honest, and that's my experience. I just want you all to know what my experience was. So it's quite a difference. Yeah, right. So I'm going to get these soaked. So I just checked the invoice, and these are from Pococks razors. These aren't Travel White. I was just thrown off by the bag because it's exactly the same bag that Travel White razors uses. So that's why. So they are Pococks. So this is all a little bit confusing because it's in gallons, and apparently an imperial gallon and a US gallon is a different thing. So I'm just going to go with what I think. So I'm gonna say it's probably about 10 litres. So that bucket, I believe, is 40 litres. So if I just go with four tablespoons, just to be on the safe side, I'll put 4 in here. So this is now soaking with the 4 tablespoons in. And if I just show you, so one of them is going to go here. This I had put there for the tree, getting ready for a tree, and then we had the issues with all the trees, so I changed my mind to climbers, so I'll probably move this. And then we'll have one on each side without that steel ring. So if you see on this side, I've dug out this section of grass here. Depending on how kind of thick the canes get, I may have to take that out a little bit more so that I can get the lawnmower in. But I don't think that's going to be a problem for now. That will be a future issue. And then this was the side that had the Estacia tree, but the problem was because the sun was only on one side, the tree was just growing in one direction, so it's probably best to have a climber that I can actually train against a structure so that it doesn't look squiffy. But yeah, that's that. So I'll just wait for those to soak, and then put one here, and then I'll just sit and wait for 3 years or so until it gets to here. The soil here is quite clay, heavy clay, so I've dug down with the kind of longer shovel as well, and then I'll use these. This is the kind of shovel that people use to dig out fence posts. And then I've just put some organic matter in the bottom. And they're in. So this is how we finished up. So I've just topped this off with some composted bark. And then here we go. It's got a long ways to go. So this side, this was initially a circle because of the tree. But I'm going to match it to this side. So I've made a kind of square with the bark here. And then I will fill this bit back in with grass. But we've got some time before we get to here. But it'll be an exciting journey, and hopefully a fragrant journey. Happy gardening, everybody. So just to very quickly go into this Fertilome Fire Blight Spray. So it's an antibiotic. The main ingredient is streptomycin sulfate. So once I dipped the roses into the solution, I left them in there for maybe 5 minutes or so, and then I soaked them in fresh water as normal to remove the antibiotic after it had kind of done its job, killing any of the harmful bacteria, because I wouldn't then want to prevent any of the good bacteria in the soil and the mycorrhiza fungi from kind of doing their beneficial jobs. So yeah, so this was basically rinsed off after it was used. I got these from Amazon, so I've just ordered another couple because streptomycin sulfate seems to be quite expensive. And I got these for, I think it was about 17 or 18 pounds each. So I've got a few just to put in the garage now. So when I have more bare root roses coming, I can just give them another dip. Also, the professor that I was talking about earlier, I just had a look. His name is Mark Wyndham, and he has done a couple of talks on things like rose gall, rose rosette disease. So you can find him on YouTube as well if you search for that. And another thing that he mentioned was that isopropyl alcohol for sterilization of pruners and stuff, it's actually more effective when it's at 70% rather than 80, 90, whatever percent, because the addition of the water in the alcohol actually helps the alcohol to penetrate any bacteria. So apparently if the alcohol is too high a concentration, it damages the proteins on contact straight away rather than kind of getting into the cell. So I have now purchased 70% alcohol because I was using 99% before. So yeah, just a couple of quick tips that I learned from watching that professor's talk. But yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.